Welcome to the Bitcoin Infinity Show, brought to you by Bitbox, the Bitcoin Advisor, and ShoppingBit. Check out bitcoininfinity.com for our books, merch, and all other things Bitcoin Infinity. LFG.
George, welcome to the Bitcoin Infinity Show. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Luke. Thank you, Knut.
Good to have you here, George.
Awesome to be here, yeah.
Yeah, you're here to tell us about the city that I was most surprised by ever. I've never heard of the city before I went to Bulgaria. It's 2.5 years ago almost now.
Yeah, time flies.
So Plovdiv, Bulgaria, which was amazing. This rich, thousands of years of history place with a lot of different eras and different styles of architecture and stuff. Really enjoyed Plovdiv. And you have a football team there.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. Please give us the story about George and Plovdiv.
Yeah, sure.
Botev Plovdiv.
Sure. So Plovdiv is, we say it's the oldest living city in Europe, so continuously inhabited. Like you say, not many people know it. I guess we don't have good enough marketing, but that's probably part of my job right now, right? To spread the word about it. And so it's the second largest city in the country. And it's just this, it's very, I love how you put it, because almost nobody has really heard of Plovdiv, right? Most people, when they hear of Bulgaria, they've probably heard of Sofia at most. But Sofia is, it's okay, but Plovdiv is kind of the chill place. Plovdiv is the place that is actually worth visiting, the place where, which is kind of the most, people just enjoy doing it, enjoy going there. I was born there, right? And grew up there till 18 or so, then studied, lived in Sofia most of the time. And last year, in kind of summer, I was already kind of way deeper into Bitcoin. I decided I'm going to go full time into Bitcoin, just commit all my time in Bitcoin at the time, educating, publishing books in Bulgarian about Bitcoin, creating my own educational platform. And then I got reached out and connected really to the owner of the football club in the city, which is also the oldest football club in the country, Botev Plovdiv, who was, he got introduced into Bitcoin himself, and he realized it's going to be a very big, going to play a central role in where the world is going.
But is this the owner of the club?
That's right. Yeah, the owner of the club. And he was like, hey, I think we can do something unique with Bitcoin, because, we being, the club is really a company, right? It's a business on the one hand, but it's a special type of business, right? Because it's, it's not where just you produce a certain product or service. It's really a living organism where people are involved into it, for kind of very emotional reasons. People feel like it's their own, and it's not like a small group of people. It's a very large group of people. In our case, we have tens of thousands, arguably more than 100, 200,000, people who care, who watch, who follow the club. And so on the one hand, there's many different ways in which we can look into this. But on the one hand, it's, for me, what really inspired me and what got me, oh my God, is this really happening? Is that we can bring the conversation about Bitcoin from a completely different angle into society, to a group of people who, for the most part, would never really come to an event like this, right? They would never listen to podcasts like this. They would never get to any of the kind of places and things we listen to, watch, consume, right? And just yesterday was kind of we had this conversation. It's people go, people go kind of for bread and circus, right? For the games. That's what really football is, right? It's fun and it's emotion, it's enjoyment, but then we them censorship resistance and and hard money, right? And we don't really push it, that's the thing, right? Because we are consistently, progressively, gradually over time introducing it and finding the best way and the most appropriate way to plant that seed to the minds of the people, into the views of the people, and so on and so forth. So it's really what we're trying to build is, we feel we're in a very privileged position, right? Because we've been, the first really professional sports club globally, I would say, to have crypto, Bitcoin, people, departments who is actually full-time employed to think of a way to grow the business, to think of a way to integrate Bitcoin natively within the various aspects of the organization, which obviously initially includes like accepting payments and so on and so forth. But there's so much more you can do exactly with this type of like organization. Again, like not just a business in the traditional sense.
Yeah, and Plovdiv won the league, right? Is that right?
Yeah, man, like it's yeah. So we when I started last year, things were super bad. Like exactly 1 year ago, I was there for one of the first games. It was horrible. Like I was like, okay, this is a great idea, but if the team is doing so bad, and if they keep losing, and if the fans keep getting, being unhappy, like it's not gonna go anywhere. But still, I gave it a go, right? Because I was like, okay, I just hope that the sports side guys are going to do their part, and I have my opportunity here to just like push, to educate, to do what life is giving me an opportunity to do. And very fortunately, as we started working, the team started performing better and better and better. We got a completely new coach. We got a new sports director. We had a lot of key staff changes across the organization, which relatively quickly started showing results. So yeah, like 10 months later in May, we won the Bulgarian Cup.
Is that the cup or the league? Like, it's
the cup. It's the cup. So I was saying, like, we started very bad in the league, and so we were doing better and better, but still, like, we finished 9th in the league out of 16 clubs at the end of the day, but which was still okay, because like when I joined, like we were like
worried about relegation or something like that.
Almost there. I mean,
for a complete like I've tried to take an interest to football, but like my ADD brain just wanders away after 5 minutes, and I can't concentrate anymore. So I don't
know.
More
of a basketball fan.
Yeah. Am I now? What's the difference between the cup and the league? Let's begin there.
No,
that's how much of an amazing question I am.
So pretty much in every country is the same, right? You have a league or a championship where you have, in our case, 16 teams, and every team plays twice against every other team. So home game, away game, and then you either win 3 points when you win, or you lose, or you draw and you win 1 point.
Yeah.
And then so after you play in our case this, what is it, 32 games,
probably 30.
Yeah, about 30. Yeah, right. You're better in math, it's obvious. So once you play these 30 games, you like the team with the most points wins, right?
Yeah.
Whereas the cup is direct elimination rounds.
So quarterfinals, semifinals, all that.
Yes, exactly. So it's the easier way. So this was the way for us to, due to the bad start of the season, this was the way for us to achieve something in this season, and to achieve something important, because what the cups gives us as an opportunity and gave us was to play in the European leagues.
Oh yeah.
So UEFA leagues, and we just did that. We played 6 games. For the Europa League and the Europe Conference League.
Okay, but to be in the Champions League, that's a totally you have to you have to win the league, and you have to win all sorts of stuff. Like, how does that work?
Yeah, you have to win the league, and then in our case, so in every country is different, but in our case, we have to win, like, we go to qualifications for the Champions League. So it's like, 3 to 4 games, and if we win that, we go into the Champions League.
All right.
That's the current state of affairs, although that can change over the years.
All right. It all makes sense to me now. Well, that's a lie, but anyway.
No, we'll acknowledge here that I'm more of the sports fan generally here, and I follow football. I like European football. And obviously I'm using the correct term despite my pseudo-American accent. Anyway. No, it's fantastic to see, and I mean, for the non-sports fans listening to this, I get that.
Well, I am a sports fan. It's just that StarCraft 2 is my sport.
Esports.
Right. Yeah. So I watch StarCraft 2 games. That's what I do for procrastination sometimes.
Yeah, esports are valid sports. I'm not going to compare it to other things that aren't valid.
How about breakdancing? Is that a valid sport?
Breakdancing is interesting. I think anything with points to the judges give points is kind of not really a sport. It's an activity. But yeah, anyway,
a thing to do.
Breakdancing is a thing to do. Yes, definitely. But back to Botev Plovdiv. Is it Botev? What's that?
Botev.
Botev Plovdiv. Yeah. So like the achievement winning the cup. I mean,
it's huge.
The cups are sort of more they're both difficult in their own way, right? Like the cup, you lose one game, you're out basically, right? But I mean, the league is like this endurance achievement, right? You have to perform well over the course of the whole season. But the cheat code, so to say, and I probably subconsciously used the other football team's terminology, who's in the space, Real Bedford. The idea, right, if I'm getting it, is that you guys would keep the Bitcoin in the treasury, the company, and then over the course of time, it's just going to do the number go up thing, and the club will have more resources, right? Is that the idea you're thinking with the Bitcoin strategy?
Yeah, there's actually many things to it, and this is kind of the most, let's say, vanilla type of approach. Yeah, like just buy Bitcoin and hold it on the balance sheet, which is great. But there's actually so many other things you can do, and that's where, because if you just do that, frankly, like, I mean, you don't need me involved, right? Much. I mean, just call Coinbase, whatever, wire the money, Kraken, and buy. But with us, it's like really we see a huge opportunity to, first of all, align our brand with the Bitcoin brand, which is a royalty-free, like the biggest brand in finance for sure. It's going to be the biggest brand in the world for sure at some point, right? So that's one play. And to do this, it's not enough for you to just buy Bitcoin and hold it on the balance sheet. It's what you need to do is proof of work, right? You need to do things that nobody has ever done. You need to really kind of be creative and to push the boundaries of what anyone has ever done before, right? So that is my kind of job, and it's a lot of just like let's think of what new things we can do with Bitcoin and sports and football that nobody has ever done. Just because others are focused on the short-term things, they're focused on hitting those quick wins, those quick goals, which is why, for example, like a lot of the sports and that have they haven't really interacted outside of Bedford with Bitcoin, right? It's mostly been crypto because it's just okay. Let's make some quick money.
It's usually just sponsorships, right?
Yes. And for us, because on the one hand, like we're not like Manchester United, right? We're not Chelsea, so we don't have that much to monetize immediately. Like we're a large club, but
you're a large club in a local league, which is different from it's not one of the leagues that is internationally positioned like that.
That's right.
But I mean, the difference between you guys and Bedford that I think is really interesting. Like Peter McCormack, what he's doing. I mean, he's taking a club from the bottom and aiming for the top. But who knows how long that's going to take him to get there, right? But you guys are already in the top of your league, right? Like in the top league,
right? Yeah, and also there's different in this. We're in the top of our league. My goal personally is to go to Champions League, but this is very hard, right? Because like, okay, when you start from Peter's ground, like it's easy. Okay, every year you level up. Or I mean, I'm not gonna say it's easy, but it's easier than once you're at our level. For us, it's important to play currently every year in European leagues, like we've done so far, and to every year consistently like increase the level of the sports, level of the business department bit by bit, but like breaking that point where we win the league, where we win several more games and enter the Champions League, that's really hard. I mean, because you're already at that stage where everybody, like so many teams are so strong, right? So it's it takes just a lot of ingredients for you to hit in order to win. But we're gonna get there.
And does the club self-custody its Bitcoin? And if so, is it a something out of 11 multisig? That sounds like a football thing.
Why so? Yeah, an 11? No, fuck that. I mean, yeah, even 7 multisig is a killer, but no. Yeah, I can't really speak too much about this at this point. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, so we do self custody. So that's the approach that we've chosen with kind of a lot of, we've chosen to go really pure Bitcoin in terms of the strategy. And that's how we set ourselves apart. That's how we believe we win the long game. Because for instance, like we accept Bitcoin with BTC Pay server, which in my mind, they don't even have competition. I mean, it's the only like real, solid, autonomous, sovereign way to accept payments. And it's also the way which makes sense for like, frankly, any standard business. Because like, man, we're selling scarves. We're selling membership boat cards. We're selling jerseys. We're selling basic merch. And if we are to sell it with basically any other service out there outside of BTC Pay server, we have to basically indirectly do KYC, right? We have to go through KYC. We have to go through KYB, which is ridiculous in my mind. And so that's why we're exceptionally thankful to BTC Pay server guys for what they've built. It's been like an absolute pleasure to use their product, to use their service. We have, outside of BTC Pay, we are the first sports club on Nostr, where we have actively been posting, exploring, meeting people here, kind of thinking of what we could do from our angle again, like first time on Nostr. We have partnered with Aqua, Jantry's Aqua Wallet, which has a Botev skin mode now. So if you go to settings, you can turn Botev mode, and then it turns into the colors of the club, and have the picture of the stadium there.
I'm using Aqua right now because usually I like to use Aqua as like a sort of a middle wallet because it's still slightly slower than other Lightning wallets because they everything actually lives on Liquid, and then they go out via bolts. So it's slightly slower than a faster, than other more direct Lightning wallets. And so usually when I come to a conference, I'm going to load up a temporary, I don't know, Blink or something like that. But I forgot to do that, so I'm just using my Aqua Wallet. And you know what? It's been great here. It's been working. We're big fans of Aqua Wallet and what Jantry is doing.
And BTC Pay server. I mean, we can echo everything you said. That we BitcoinInfinity.com, and the store here we just fired up. Everything is powered by a BTC Pay server, and we just love it.
Yep.
Yes.
So what was your question about Aqua?
If yours is on Botev mode.
I don't think I've gone into the settings and changed it to Botev mode. I'll have to do that. Maybe we'll take a.
It's dark mode, but cooler.
Dark mode, but cooler. Okay. Actually, that's a good point. That's a good point. Here, we'll take a picture after the episode, and we'll do proof of Botev mode, and post that on Nostr. How does that sound?
Let's go.
Good.
Great news, everyone! Bitcoin: The Inverse of Clown World is out now.
It's the successor to Everything Divided by 21 Million, and it's based on the last 2 years of podcasts that we've done together. So if you like the show, you're going to love the book.
Find the book on BitcoinInfinityStore.com or on Amazon.
That's right. We have our own store now, BitcoinInfinityStore.com. You can find not just books, but merchandise based on Everything Divided by 21 Million, The Inverse of Clown World. That's BitcoinInfinityStore.com.
So check out Bitcoin: The Inverse of Clown World today and buy some other stuff while you're there too.
This show is brought to you by Bitbox, our favorite hardware wallet. It's Swiss engineered and has all the most important security features to keep your Bitcoin safe, while keeping a user experience that even your grandma can use. So visit bitbox.swiss/freedom to learn more, or use code FREEDOM at checkout for 5% off. And remember, it's the Bitbox 02 Bitcoin Only edition. Make sure to get that Bitcoin Only firmware.
Bitbox. Yeah, Nostr. Is there a connection there between Botev Plovdiv and Nostr? Were you doing Nostr stuff as well?
Yeah, well, look, a lot of these things is like, so what Botev Plovdiv stands for, very importantly, so the club was named after Hristo Botev, who is one of the most Bulgarians, if the most famous Bulgarian revolutionaries, like historical figure. He was a poet, he was a revolutionary, he fought for Bulgaria's freedom back in the day.
What era did
like 100 and what is it, like 50 years ago or so? Yeah.
Okay. So right like the Ottoman
exactly.
times.
Yeah. He fought for the liberation of Bulgarians, from the Ottoman Empire. And a lot of what he stands for is this fight for freedom, is fight for liberty, And this lives until this very day into the identity of the club, into what we stand for, into the songs, into the the kind of like what our fans also resonate with, and what they sing, like in many ways, right? So freedom of speech, freedom of like freedom in general is a value that is deeply ingrained into kind of like what the club stands for. That's why I'm into Bitcoin. That's why I believe, and that's why I saw this even bigger opportunity. Oh my God, like how is this happening? There's so many, sometimes, some like weird things happen in life and you have no explanation why and how all these things align. But for me, it's like this club was made really to be aligned with Botev and to be aligned with Bitcoin and with Nostr. If I look at all the other clubs in Bulgaria, right? Like just in Bulgaria, none of the others, like there's no this contextual historical background that you can make these connections.
Mm-hmm.
But with us, we have it. And what a chance that like we have this owner, he got like introduced to it, and then we got connected. Like, how the hell does this happen, man? I don't know.
We like to say this, the surreal doesn't end, my whole story, I've been talking about this at the conference here, is like 2 years ago was the first time I ever met Bitcoiners here in Baltic Badger. We met for the first time, all three of us met for the first time 2 years ago in Baltic Badger, and it's like things happen so fast. I've thought it's been awesome just following what you've been doing with the club and the story. So great to get to talk about it. But
for me, like really the most exciting part is really even coming forward. So because now it's been, so we announced publicly that we're doing this 31st October last year, so the anniversary of the Bitcoin white paper. We've built a lot, right? And very, very importantly, I'm super proud. Like, I don't know if you saw this, but like a month ago, we played on European League, the UEFA League, with Bitcoin straight on our jerseys, which was like when I saw this, I'm like, dude, it's crazy that this is happening. But the best is really yet to come, like we like to say. So I think we have still so much more to do. So for me, the next big part, which I'm super excited about, literally in the coming month as I go back, so is to finally get some of our players, or at least one or two, to do something publicly about this. Because at the end of the day, that's why, for me, the more I do, the more I play in this arena, I realize this is really a Trojan horse for us to bring Bitcoin into the conversation, into the minds, like I said, of people who otherwise wouldn't. And our players, especially a few of them, they're really influencers, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people follow them. A lot of people respect them. And if they do, something meaningful, something cool, something impactful, this is going to have a huge impact onto our forwards. This could very well have impact onto other sportsmen, other football people, other football clubs, right? So that's why I'm doing it, right? Really.
No, this is fantastic, and actually, this was exactly where I was hoping to go next. So, thank you for queuing that up.
Right.
But the game theory of all this, right? Like one club positioning as the Bitcoin club in a league really means that eventually all the other clubs are going to need to adopt Bitcoin if they're going to be able to compete. Because if playing out the game theory, number go up, whatever it is, Bitcoin strategy plays out, you guys are going to be the most financially capable club, financially sustainable in not very long, assuming everything plays out the way we're thinking it will, right? So other clubs then would become incentivized to also adopt Bitcoin. So what do you think about that? Like, do you see that happening as well?
Yeah, I'm not really sure if it would happen that fast, to be fair. Like, I think it's inevitable, right? Obviously. But I think I think this definitely takes at least 3-4 years, maybe more.
That's still pretty fast.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, okay, let me define it better. It takes 3-4 years for other clubs within our league to start doing something like this. Maybe it takes less time for other clubs to realize it. But I think for them to do it, it also depends on our actions, right? So because we don't have like a treasury of MicroStrategy or something, so it's not and we're not doing like
oh, you don't
multi like leverage on top of leverage on top of another leverage. We're not in Michael's privileged position, but we can do other cool things, right? One of the so this is not yet live and this is not yet happening, but one of the like two projects, let's say, I'm gonna briefly like tease here that I'm working on that I hope to have very large impact is first, I'm building this simple tool called like a Bitcoin football salary calculator that it's like really a DCA tool, but like looking back and like tailoring it to our niche, where I want for us to visually and emotionally show to players, but also to like fans of ours, like what Bitcoin could have done for their remuneration if you look 1 year back in time, 2 years back in time, 3 years back in time, 4 years back in time, and for them to really realize, oh my God, this is a no-brainer, right? I want to make this mess, and this is hard, right? Because like there's so many tools and like, but I want because the audience is very wide.
Yeah.
Very different types of audience. I want to make this so that you can consume it in like 2, 3, 4 minutes. And you're like, okay, I need to learn more about this. This actually is interesting. That's so much dense and emotional and compact information that you're like, whoa, why am I not doing this? How did I miss this?
What was the name of that website? I don't know if it's still up, but bitcoinorshit.com or something like that. So it lists if you bought this item when it came out, so an iPhone 5 or whatever.
Right.
And if you had bought bitcoininstead.com, I think that's the name. So if you bought Bitcoin instead, it shows you how much more money you'd have now and how many iPhones you could have bought.
Yeah. And of course, there's many of these tools. Obviously, like we've all seen them and we all like them and retweet them and repost them, and it's so great. But I think, at least I hope that we can do something impactful with this if we really tailor it, compact it to a specific type of niche audience with a specific message designed for them. And because this audience is also like a type of audience who can also like, bring it to other bubbles that we ourselves are not part of, right? Yeah. So that's, for example, one project I'm very, very excited about, and I hope we can, we'll bring forward relatively soon. There's a few moving elements, but definitely in the coming month or two, at most. And then, speaking of the other clubs, what I want us to do is what we're working is next year, we're targeting to do, I hope we could do the world's first Bitcoin Cup tournament for youth players, 70-year-old boys who are, right there before they sign their first professional contract, start earning money. For them, first of all, like it's a Bitcoin Football Cup, like it's the first time this could potentially ever happen. And then it's a football first tournament, right? We want to make it like top quality, like really the highest quality when it comes to sports. But then you have Bitcoin involved all over the place, right? In terms of brand, in terms of rewards, in terms of like plays, like games and interactions, activations throughout, and after the event. And for this, I'm targeting to get really like big clubs. I mean, because it's academies, right? I mean, I cannot get the Manchester United first team, but just maybe we could get the Manchester United 70-year-old team, or another big club. Yeah. We get some of these, and then like we get their brands, we get them on the focus of Bitcoin, and we drive the conversation faster. Not 3-4 years from now, but less than a year.
What about like right now? There's you and there's you guys and there's Real Bedford, right? Those are the two I know of in Europe. Right. Are you aware of any other clubs that are doing a Bitcoin strategy? I mean, is this virus spreading? Like, have you heard anything? Like,
there's the Austrian Admira Wacker who have done some integration. So it's a second tier, second league club that have they've also had Bitcoin on their second team jersey, and they also accept Bitcoin payments here and there. But the thing is, and it's them. There's some other clubs. There's a a Hawaiian club that is doing like their Bitcoin gig.
Yeah, there are other sports, right? Other sports teams in other sports that are doing it, but for football specifically, it's
which ones?
I'm so bad with sports, but wasn't there like a hockey team or a basketball team or something?
I'm not aware of any others actually. There's been some attempts at memeing like an orange-colored team or something like that.
Maybe it's more the individual athletes, like
there's
Sean
individual
Harris,
athletes,
for instance,
exactly. There have been
a
individual
basketball
athletes.
player, and there was some American football player.
There's been individual athletes, a lot of them. There's been, I was asking you if you know, but there's been a baseball club in Australia, the Port Heat, who did kind of a Bitcoin strategy, but very unfortunately that didn't work out. They kind of started this at the peak of the last bull cycle, and as I understand, there wasn't like a strong alignment between the owners and the management in terms of like understanding that this is a long game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why this kind of flopped. But yeah, like I think the reason why it's not happening in more, unfortunately, and man, I see this even within our club, but definitely no other clubs, because fiat has permitted sports as well, right? So all the sports clubs, or the vast majority in football for sure, they're like, on the hamster wheel themselves.
They're indebted.
They're indebted. They are
to an extreme level, right?
Really, yeah, like fighting for every dollar, for every income. So it's hard for you to like, oh yeah, we're gonna have this long-term Bitcoin strategy that's gonna take like 2, 3, 4, 5 years to play out, and we can benefit a lot from it. It's very, very hard, unfortunately, for a large organization, sports club in particular, to have this realization, to map this out, to get others on board. That's why it's not so popular, and that's why I'm grateful and keep pushing that we have this chance.
I mean, you make a great point here about essentially it's the organizational alignment, right? Like these are companies. Sports clubs are companies. They just have this large. The business is involved around getting fans to come in and consume this sort of marketing product, essentially. So it's a certain kind of company that's run a certain way, but just like any other company, you need alignment from the management. So it's fantastic that Botev Plovdiv has the alignment and is putting their trust in you and to move this thing forward. And I mean, from the perspective of this thing playing out, right? The best part that I think one of the best parts that you mentioned again was the influencers. Like you get some players. There's so many angles to reach people through this. I think it's fantastic. The orange pilling a player and then they move to another club, but they maybe they don't get to get paid in Bitcoin, but maybe they still put their money in Bitcoin. Maybe they even ask their club to pay them in Bitcoin, something like that. And then the questions start getting asked and all this. So what is the goal in 5 years, for example? Where do you see the club in the 5-year mark?
Oh man. In 5 years, I think we definitely have to be in Champions League. Like in my mind, like people around me like, oh, you're too ambitious. I'm like, man, yeah, like in 5 years, we definitely have to be in Champions League. That's my personal goal. On our internal Slack, I have the Champions League icon there. That's why I'm there, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of hard work. Like it's really a lot of hard work. And it's also not completely dependent on me and my work, to be fair, like because at all, I mean, really like, at the end of the day, the most important part is the sports department, right? In the club. So that has to continue going well. But I think we're going good direction there too, because we have the long-term view as well, right? We have our academy internally, which is, it's one of the best academies. It's the best really academy in terms of infrastructure in the country. That's why we're also can afford to think of this Bitcoin Cup tournament, because we have the infrastructure. We have like a super cool stadium that would be crazy if we can do a final for such a tournament there. So we have all the things in place in terms of assets, I would say. It's just a lot of moving parts, a lot of work, consistency, and a bit of luck. Always it comes, when it comes to football and sports. But 5 years from now, I want us to be in the Champions League. I want us to be the absolute, international, professional level Bitcoin level Bitcoin sports club, and I want for this tournament that I start to be like to have the 4th edition by then, and I want to have clubs. But 5 years is a lot of time, as you say. Like I also want to have other clubs following us by then. I think that's absolutely is going to be doable.
What are the tax laws around Bitcoin in Bulgaria? Like, are there any issues there, or like, is it easy enough?
It's kind of okay. It's kind of okay. So if you just buy Bitcoin and hold it, like you don't incur taxes until you sell it. If you accept Bitcoin for payments, and if you don't sell it, you can just keep it as inventory on your balance sheet. So again, no.
But there's a capital gains tax or something if you sell it?
Yeah.
All right.
But it's 10%. So it's
pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like El Salvador, okay? But it's way better than many other places. So we've been looking actually. So I was in El Salvador a couple of months ago because we've been looking very much to do stuff there, and we've been because we've been we've been thinking of what to do more with Bitcoin, right? So that's why I said, like, it's not just about buying and accepting Bitcoin. It's about corporate strategies, about branding strategies, about education strategies. There's so much around it. So in terms of corporate strategy, we're very attracted by El Salvador and their capital markets regulation, because they're basically striving to build capital markets on top of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is legal tender there. They have all kinds of tax incentives for companies to issue debt or to sell equity on their capital, on their let's say nascent upcoming capital markets, because it's not like it's hustling and bustling yet, but they've put a lot of the rails or they are building a lot of the rails to really enable the creation of Bitcoin-based capital markets. So we've had great talks there. We have great meetings with with the Bitcoin office, right?
Mm-hmm.
So ideally, like, we're striving to build some connection there and to do something interesting and world first again from a corporate perspective. It's just that, as many things, it's a little harder than you would expect it to be, or it takes a little more time than you would hope to do it. But my ideal long-term vision, frankly, like what we want to do with Bitcoin and with the club, is to enable our current fans and global fans to become co-owners of the club. And that's why, I have big hopes for us being able to do this out of El Salvador and through El Salvador, because this would, like, from a tax perspective, from a branding perspective, from like legal security perspective, would be ideal. It's just that, again, my enthusiasm is a little over ahead of kind of like how advanced and set up everything there is. But we're very actively talking to them. We're working with many parties there, so just maybe we can have big news there too.
This show is brought to you by the Bitcoin Advisor, your premier destination for professional Bitcoin management.
Yeah, so if you want help with your Bitcoin inheritance planning or anything like that, you can call us or send us a DM, because we're Bitcoin advisors.
Exactly. They've been serving Bitcoin clients since 2016, and they offer a top-notch Bitcoin concierge service, including collaborative custody and estate planning. We're on the Bitcoin Advisor team ourselves because we believe 100% in what they're doing, and we're happy to tell you more about the Bitcoin Advisor on a call.
So check out thebitcoinadvisor.com or just simply shoot us a DM for some Bitcoin advice. Hey, dear listener, don't forget to like, subscribe, and brush your teeth.
And if you're enjoying the show, the best way you can help us out is spreading the word on your favorite social media platform. Ours is Nostr. The show is going Nostr first, posting the episodes on Nostr 1 day early. And if you'd like to support the show, the easiest way to do that is to send us a zap on Nostr, use a value for value podcasting app to send us a boost, or pick something up from the Bitcoin Infinity store. We appreciate the support.
Yeah, go click like, go click subscribe, and go brush your teeth now.
Well, no, and you actually said something great about global fans. I think this is a fantastic thing, right? Again, Bedford is similar. They've got fans all over the world, and And I think for you guys, it's like, who was going to tune into the Bulgarian football league outside of Bulgaria before? Well, not too many people, but now a bunch of Bitcoiners, if they're into football, or not even, because this is the funny thing. There were a lot of people posting about that. They don't usually follow sports at all, but they'll follow the Bitcoin team.
Yeah.
So the funny thing is, I think the first club to adopt Bitcoin in every league is going to get all of these global fans, and maybe the second one, the third one, maybe can get some kind of other support, but it's really the first one in every league.
Really.
Totally. I completely agree with you there. It's the first one. That's
first mover advantage.
First mover advantage. It's going to get all of the Bitcoiners are going to now be supporting. And I mean, have you seen some uptick in kind of international following?
No, so international, but also local. Like local is very important. Like we have like so many people in the country who's like just what you say. Like I didn't care about sports or football like forever or at all ever, but now I follow. Now I buy merch. Now I come, every now and then they come to games. So,
well, because there's the bread and circuses thing that you said. It gets tossed around in the Bitcoin world and also some other places on kind of the Twitter sphere and whatever. It's like it's a distraction, that sports is sort of a distraction from clown world basically, and it's a way of people to sort of forget about what's going on around them. But I think that's also missing the positives, which it's a community builder. It brings people together.
Yes.
There's a sense of pride in something local succeeding. Everyone's happy. There's real economic effects usually when a local sports team wins. And so from my perspective, I think sport is a good thing, and it's something that people can rally around. And so
it's an amazing thing.
Yeah. And so what are you looking at locally? Like what do you hope to have the effect locally in Plovdiv?
No, look, for me, sports, like for answer the about Plovdiv, for me, that's what I realized. Like we're kind of very much into Bitcoin and stuff. Obviously that's our interest, but I think when we go on a Bitcoin standard, right? And, in general, people start feeling wealthier, opposed to like being in the grind. You're just going to have more time for fun stuff, right? Like playing football, or volleyball or whatever your sport is, or like going and cheering your team and being part of such a community. And I think that's really what, even Nostr is about. Like it's being part of these communities because that's fun. And like we as humans, we're at the end of the day, we are living to be part of communities, right? And you find your community, you are active part of it, you contribute to it, you evolve it, right? You build it in one way or another. And unfortunately, today in the fiat world, this is just like a stress valve in many ways, or like you say, like British circus, whatever. But I think it can be so much more, right? It is, but it can be so much more for a larger amount of people and so on and so forth. But yeah, well, back in Plovdiv, man, like I have big hopes. I really have big ambitions there. I want to get Bitcoin into the wallets of like tens of thousands of people. I want people to wake up. I want people to see.
How big is Plovdiv? How many people?
It's like 300,000-400,000 people. Yeah. So it's a lot. Our stadium is 21,000 seat stadium. I'm kidding. It's 19. I wish it was 21.
Yeah, you'll have to add 2,000 more seats.
Maybe, yeah. We'll think of some additional construction.
make the infinity stand when you do. Yes.
Right. But yeah, like the stadium is super cool. Like it's really cool. Like when it's filled, like man, the atmosphere is amazing. And so it's and there's really this community that you can feel that people are involved. So it's like consistency and it's social engineering in one way or another, right?
One of our favorite words.
But in a positive way, okay?
In a positive way.
In a positive way. So it's social engineering for us to ingrain Bitcoin and make it part of kind of what people see, do, have, own, interact with, right? So I think exactly because of this community element, exactly because football, Botev Plovdiv is a football club, and there's this unique living organism. We can create this, and it's fascinating. I'm so much into this, and there's other people who are so much into this. Oh my god, like we can make such a big difference, and And like in the country, on a political and economic level, they don't get it. Like they don't see it. They just are in their, like, oh, are we going to accept the euro? Oh, what's happening with the war? I'm like, who cares? Let's build.
Yeah, Bulgaria has its own shitcoin. I almost forgot about that. But what's it called again?
Kinda, but not quite. To be fair,
okay.
It's a good coin. Not for investing, but for medium of exchange is actually decent. Lev is the currency.
Yeah,
but and I recently got educated about this. So the lev is pegged to the euro.
Yeah.
So so that is super cool for us. Like for me as a consumer, for businesses, because like you have the fixed rate. So for trade is, it's good, right? As the world would be in the future, you have one currency, Bitcoin. You don't have the currency exchange risk, right? We don't have it only with the European Union. And the good part with this, so we got hyperinflation back in 1997. Was really bad. People lost almost everything in many cases. And then we got this so-called currency board introduced. And the currency board is like, we have the lev, but the lev has to be backed up by other currencies. So it's like a stable coin, kind of like how Tether is backed by dollars. The lev is backed by euro and like a basket of, I think they have some other currencies and assets, which is cool because the local politicians, they cannot print. They cannot, So it's been, I think, way better than Hungary, Sweden.
Yeah.
Finland,
Sweden,
you have your...
Finland's on euro now.
But Sweden, I've heard, is kind of bad, right?
It's kind of bad. Norway too, like both the Swedish and Norwegian krona, and the corona in Czechia, like in Czech Republic. It's also
yeah.
I mean, they're all going to shit. The smaller
exactly.
currency.
So for us, it's like, I would say we're better than the krona, and all these like local currencies, because we kind of just are there peg to the euro. Yeah. The local politicians don't have the opportunity to print, so it's a very good position for us to be.
Yeah, you get the negatives of the euro, but still, I mean, realistically, the dollar, the euro, and maybe the Chinese currency are the only ones that are in the sort of within our own lifetimes are going to be not as terribly bad against Bitcoin, but all the other ones are just good.
I think it's just a matter of time before both at least Sweden switches to euro standard.
Oh yeah.
If not, switching to Bitcoin standard happens first, but we'll see what happens.
Oh man, I'm very bearish about the euro.
I think it's like,
it'll be the second last to fall or third last, but it's not going to be the last, and so it's
So that is what it is. I mean, speaking of Bulgaria and currencies and stuff, like how is the rest of how is Bitcoin adoption in general in Bulgaria? What's happening in other places? Like what Plum opened a bar I saw, and like what are the connections? What's happening?
It's actually quite cool. I'm quite happy with how the ecosystem is evolving. There's Plamen with his whole community, like content creation, the conferences he's been doing, which has been like I think he's responsible for like, I don't know, probably like 10,000, maybe several 10,000s of people who have opened their eyes, and even if they're not hard Bitcoiners, they now own Bitcoin. So that's huge. We have other content creators also who've had an impact. We have now once or twice about twice per year, we have like a small merchant like conference events. So for merchants to accept Bitcoin, we have these people who are active and who are doing things. Now, actually, there's something new that's coming up here, literally in Plovdiv, is we have these great dudes who have this, it's an application for ordering food, like takeaway and what is it, like
Glovo or something?
Yeah, like Glovo. But it's not like this big corporate thing. But still, it's a very good product, and they've integrated accepting Bitcoin there for quite some time. Now they've made it even easier, and they've introduced. So we have like about, I think it's 15 restaurants in Sofia and like 5 or so in Plovdiv, where through their system you can order food and pay with Bitcoin online, or you can also go in the restaurant and pay in Bitcoin online. And they just they just won a grant from Bitcoin Beach, and they're going to use the grant to. Well, the attempt is really to start like a small circular economy, where so if you go to one of those restaurants and pay with Bitcoin, you're going to get sats back 10%, and then the restaurant is also going to get 10% sats back. And if you order food through their app, also the driver is going to get some sats back. And we've just been discussing, because obviously we're partnering with them, with the football club, so we'll push this out. Because some of the restaurants that are there are our, I mean, I basically like, we have 2 restaurants locally that are partners. We got them in, right, obviously in the deal. So that is also like, for me, it's like super cool, because now, so far the club has been pushing Bitcoin. Now we have 2 of our restaurant partners who are themselves like hard Botevists, Botev fans, and like they're popular. Now they're starting to accept Bitcoin in their 2 restaurants, right? And they're going to have their campaigns. We're going to push them more. So I'm really excited about this, and fingers crossed this goes well. We have good metrics, because if we have good metrics, we'll look for ways to grow this. So there's a lot of grassroots things happening, which I love. On the top, nothing.
No, it's the way it's supposed to be.
But it's the way it is. Yeah, it's a better way.
Yeah, it really seems like that you get 1 or 2 of these big anchors. Like for example, you guys have had that conference for the last couple of years, but now with Botev Plovdiv, now Bulgaria has like really got a couple of big anchors, big in relative terms.
Sure.
And all of this other stuff can start coming up around it, and love to see it. I mean here with Riga, there's Honey Badger has been going for a really long time, and I even think that they are honest about. We just talked to Max about this from Debify, and like, there's not much other adoption in Latvia, and this conference has been going on for a long time,
6 years
exactly. And so it's just like it's great to see in your case, in Bulgaria's case, that there's more of this picking up. So
yeah. Well, I think it's really. In our case, I don't know, like it's grassroots, like I said, and I really believe grassroots and real, or for the vast majority, real adoption comes permissionless. Like it comes like, it's not forced. You know, there is this point where, okay, there's Plamen, like he got the inspiration, he makes his content, he does the conferences, right? Like our owner, he sees this opportunity for Bitcoin, for the club, he takes the action, right? So it's not like, so it's individuals, right? Taking actions, and then as you have, several of them, maybe others get inspired or get their ideas going, and that's how the magic happens. Excited about it.
It's awesome, man. Great to hear your story. So was there anything else that you wanted to discuss or bring up on this topic?
No, I mean, what I would say is absolutely, please, Knut, you have been, but please, you're absolutely welcome. Luke, join as well. Like both of you should come at some point.
Highly recommended. I had a great time in Bulgaria, and it's such a fascinating country. So such a rich history and such a beautiful place, and the food is great, and it's
food is
very
great.
Affordable.
It's affordable.
It's very
you can come.
nice.
Like I have people who come in Plovdiv specifically to like Nomads, spend like a week or a month. So please enjoy, visit the game. Come spend in the restaurants where they accept Bitcoin. Follow us on social media for sure. So
give us all the details. Yes, all the details, please.
And also, like one of the eras, infamous eras of Bulgaria is the commie era, right? Where you can see the impact that system had on the country and how horrid it is. So it's that might not be a good pitch for a. but that's more.
Let him share his social medias, Knut.
Wait, do you have something like?
No. I think like the point I was getting to is, if you get to Bulgaria, don't only go to Sofia. Go around. Go around the rest of the country, because it's not as raped as that town was by as that city was by communism. You have all this
Sofia,
concrete. You can really see the impact there. I'm not. This came out totally wrong, but I'm trying to. I'm trying to hype Bulgaria here. but also as there's a historical lesson to be learned in the country for sure.
It's really like there's so many different things there. So there's the communist part. There's like fucking amazing nature.
The monasteries, like, everything.
The monasteries. If you're into hiking, there's like just like from Sofia. What I love about Sofia, like just last week, twice end of the day, I'm like fucked up, like tired of computer. 40 minutes up, and I'm up in the mountains hiking in like 2,000 meters altitude. So there's all these like super cool things, but on the socials. So yeah, we're on Twitter. We're on Noster. So Twitter is Botev _EN. On Noster, we are just Botev. Yeah, you can find us.
You're not going to say your NPub? No, it's okay.
I'm still learning it, okay?
Well, we'll post. You're still learning it. We'll post all the details in the show notes.
Yes. And feel free to also check out our website. We have, due to our El Salvadorian kind of project, we already have a Salvadorian website, which is very easy to remember, botev.sv. So you can go there, and from there you'll find all the links and information.
Absolutely fantastic.
Great. Get the inverse of Clown World. This is a shill.
Yes, yeah.
BitcoinInfinityStore.com. And thank you very much for coming on.
It was
George.
great having you
guys.
Great
to have you here.
Yeah.
George, thanks so much. This has been the Bitcoin Infinity Show. Thank you for listening.